So that's now recording. So guys, I'm going to go over that again, if that's all right with you. So I'm going to do it in quick time, but basically, I forgot to record, guys. So I'm just going to quickly highlight what we went through. Most people here put their hands up and they said that most people reply when they connect with somebody to say thank you for connecting. However, most people do that with a text message. Most people don't send a voice note or a video message. I then went over the rule of communication by Albert Moravian, and I said that 7% is made up of words, 38% is made up of voice, and 55% is made up of body language and facial expression. And therefore, when it comes to building relationships, building rapport, video is by far the most powerful, and voice is a close second to that. And then text is comes in third place. So if you want to stand out as well in the inbox, if you think of a text message compared to a video message, for example, it stands out more because it takes up more space in the inbox. All right, a bit the same as if you add an image to a post on LinkedIn, it takes up more of the feed and so stands out more. So guys, what I'm saying to you and what I'm recommending that you do is you leverage 100% of the rule of communication if you can, and if you can find the time to do so, because as somebody that most people here are not influencers on LinkedIn. Most people here have got kind of relatively small accounts, and like selling in the DMs or sell by chat, as it's also known, is a skill that you need to have if you want to close deals. And I just mentioned, like yesterday, I closed a $6.5 grand deal in the DMs. All right. So it's super powerful when you know how to do it, but it all starts with connecting in the right way. Now, there's you sending the connection request, and then of course there's somebody sending you a connection request. So let me start by what to do when someone sends you a connection request, because oftentimes I think what people do is someone sends you a connection request, you go check out their profile. If their profile is of interest to you, you then accept the connection request. You might delve a little bit deeper. You might go and check out their profile. But let me just share my screen a minute so that it's not just me speaking that you can see. All right, give me a second. So let's take Gary as an example, right? So this is just this. Can you all see my screen? Okay. You can see my, yeah, cool. Okay, so if I go to, it's not letting me go to it now, hang on. Go to my inbox, and I'm going to go to Gary, and I'm going to go to the start of this conversation. So Gary sent me a connection request this morning after seeing my post this morning, right? And what I did straight away, as soon as he sent me the connection request, I said, hey, Gary, thanks for reaching out with the connection request. Just out of curiosity, was there something about my profile or content that made you decide to send it, or was it for some other reason? So it's perfectly acceptable to ask that question. You know, why has somebody wanted to, you know, there must be something about your profile or your content that made this person want to connect with you. So you ask the question and then you wait for the reply. And even if you don't get a reply, you follow up, you persist. So if after 24 hours, he hasn't come back to you, you go back to him again and go and say, hey, Gary, sorry, you sent me a connection request. I've accepted it. Did you see my last message? And you go back to him and you're looking to get that reply from him. Okay. Because you want to start a conversation. The point is that if this person has sent you a connection request, there must be something of interest for him to have done that. There must be, it's a signal that he actually likes your content, likes your profile, is interested in what you do in some way, shape or form. So whatever you do, guys, if somebody sends you a connection request, don't just click accept and leave it. Send a message similar to this. Hey, Gary, thanks for reaching out with the connection request. Just out of curiosity, was there something about my profile or content that made you decide to send it, or was it for some other reason? What you'll also find with this type of approach, a lot of people will send you connection requests because they want to pitch slap you, right? They're just wanting to get connected with you so they can then send you a follow-up message. what you're doing here is you're beating them to it. And what you're actually doing is stopping them in their tracks before they even get a chance, unless they're going to be blatant and they go, well, actually, I wanted to talk to you about XYZ because I sell XY. Do you know what I mean? But more often than not, when you beat them to it with a response like this, you can stop them from pitch slapping. And here you can see he said, "Hi Craig, thanks for asking. I'm not premium, so limited to the number of connection messages I send. Saw your recent post on commenting, checked out your profile, thought that's someone I'd like to know better." Incidentally, there's a way here that you can I hate the word automate, but there's a way here that you can semi-automate the way that you respond to save yourself time. And has anybody ever heard of something called Magical? The Magical Auto Text Expander? Yeah. Okay, cool. So for those of you that have, great. For those of you that haven't, download the Magical Auto Text Expander. You can see that it's this little green icon on my screen up here. And as soon as you click it, this pops out. And what you can do is you can set up templates. So for things that you say regularly and often in the DMs, you can create shortcuts for. So for example, that message that I just mentioned, which was, I think this one is, which I'm trying to remember which one this is now. Connection request. Hey, Gary, thanks. So I think this one is new connection 1, NC1. There you go. So NC1. So you can see if I open that up, the code for it is new connection 1. And this is my message. You can see I've since changed it and I've added my Score app link to it as well. But I actually deleted it in this instance because it wasn't relevant. But the point I'm making here is you don't have to type these messages out every single time. If you set these templates up inside of Magical, then when you're replying to somebody like this, let's imagine he's just sent me a connection request. I can just go new connection 1, NC1, and boom, it's in there. I pop his name in to personalize it and jobs are good. And yeah, so that's a quick way of kind of keeping on top of your DMs and responding to people that send you a connection request. Now, when it so that kind of covers like how to respond to people and to nip things in the bud with kind of pitch slapping, people pitch slapping you in the DMs. Next, I want to talk about how we go about connecting with our ideal prospects, right? So if I go to my feed, let me just close this down. And let's go to my post today. So right, I want this to be a bit more interactive, guys. So I'm going to ask a few people a couple of questions here now. So Michael, quick question. When you're in the DMs or when you're thinking about who to reach out to in the DMs, how do you go about it? Where do you find the people that you want to speak to?
Usually just through searching for certain industry sectors, or job titles within certain industry sectors. Maybe owners, proprietors of care homes, for example, things like that. And then obviously try to send a connection request from there.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Donna? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I do a bit of that, but I also quite like, people like I really respect that I'm already connected with.
Yeah.
I like to, look down all the other comments and then sort of get a feel for the people who are making comments on their posts. And I think, do they align with what I do? And
perfect. Yeah, really
then
good.
maybe reach out that way.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's what I was going to move on to next. So today, I did a post. I posted today about commenting, just a carousel post. And on the post, I basically mention my target audience in the post, right? And so they know who I'm talking to. And then when people then respond in the comments, I just click on the likes, right? You can click on the comments if you want, but I just click on the likes like that. And I've now got a list of people that have signaled to me that they like my shit. These people like that post, right? For one reason or another, it resonates with them. You can see by the way that they've reacted that they like it, they love it, they're clapping, etc. Right? So in some way, shape, or form, my content is of interest to them. So it's possible that other things that I do may be of interest to them also, but they might just not know about it. They might just have liked the content and then navigated away. So it's our job in the DMs to reach out to these people. Some of these people may be connected to you already. Many of them may not be, right? More often than not, though, the people that are engaging you tend to have connected with, but there'll be the odd person that's not connected to you. In that case, what you'll do is you'll go and find, I don't know whether I'm connected to most of these people, to be honest with you. Let's look at Christo. I'm not sure if I'm connected to Christo. Okay, we are connected. So this is not the type of example I was looking for, but what I would do at this stage, if there's anybody in there that I'm not connected to, that you know, a new face that I'm not familiar with, then what I'll do is I'll click onto their profile and I'll send them a connection request. Right now, the connection request needs to mention or it needs to highlight the fact that that person interacted with your content. So I would reach out to them and say, hey, Christo, I hope you don't mind me reaching out to connect. I noticed that you engaged with my content today. Really, really appreciate that. I hope you'll consider connecting. So we reference the thing, the action that they took on our content, and then we send them a connection. And it's very important as well to show gratitude for them engaging with your content. Likewise, if they've commented, so if we look into the comments here, like I'm friends with Janine already, but if I scroll down, let's go to the bottom of the comments. Hopefully there'll be some new ones down here.
You have a few there, Craig, the ones that have second next to their name.
Yeah. So marvelous audio. Now, people that have got the second next to their name, you just go into these people because you know you're not connected. This for me though wouldn't be a good connection for me, just because I've got like 1,000,001 copywriters that I'm connected to. I don't need any more. But if this was my ideal target audience or my ICP, then this would be the kind of person you'd send the connection request to, and you'd reference the fact that they'd commented. You'd also respond to their comment in a purposeful and meaningful way. Try to add value. Try to keep that conversation going in the comments, and then pivot into the DMs from there. Okay, so let's just come back to here. Okay, so we've kind of covered. So is anybody unfamiliar with Loom or Vidyard? Yes. Okay, so those of you that just put your hands up, Loom and Vidyard is just screen recording software, right? They're both Chrome extensions. You can download them. Like here, this little purple one here is Loom, and there's another one here called Vidyard. I use Loom the majority of the time. Loom is quite a good option also because the thumbnails are animated. So when you drop a link for your video into a DM, you can have an animated thumbnail with you actually moving. Now, the reason I'm going to share this tip with you is because this was a bit of a game changer for me. This is about a year ago, and it takes a lot of work, but again, it's massively worth it. So I'm just going to show you what I used to do. Right. So let me just stop sharing my screen a moment. In fact, let me show you Vidyard first. So you can see, hopefully you won't be able to see exactly what it looks like because we're recording and we're sharing a screen at the moment. But with any luck, yeah, it's blocked. So I can't show you exactly what it looks like. But you can see here that if I just click allow, you can see here that you can start recording your screen very easily. You can do screen and camera, so you can appear down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You can just go screen, or you can just go camera. But then once you've recorded it and stopped the recording, you can then send that link to somebody, and you can choose to have either a static thumbnail or an animated thumbnail. And the animated thumbnail is great because it's great for capturing attention, because motion, if you think about motion grabs attention, right? So if you think about in the inbox, let me just stop that and go back to the inbox. If we take Sally here, you can see that this morning, or I noticed that Sally, this is relevant to anybody that uses Score App, Eli, Michael. You can see here that I said, hi, Sally Ann, thanks for taking time to get your LinkedIn profile score. So this lady took my quiz on my LinkedIn profile, right? And then she put, morning, Craig, happy to connect, Sally. I then said, yeah, great to connect, Sally. How's it going? Are you relatively new to LinkedIn? Because I'd looked at her profile and I noticed that she's only got about 500 followers, right? So I'm guessing she's relatively new to the platform, or she's just not very active at all. And then I send her a Loom video. And the Loom video that I send her is of her profile. Now, if you send a thumbnail, if I sent that thumbnail to you and it is your profile on screen, your natural curiosity kicks in. You're like, what's this? Like, I need to find out what he's saying about my profile. So you will naturally want to click into that video. It's far more powerful than it just being a video of yourself, because we're kind of, as people, we're all self-absorbed a little bit, right? We're all in it for ourselves. So Sally's natural curiosity is kicked in. So this is a Loom video. This is what the thumbnail looks like on Loom. But if you were doing this on Vidyard, there's an option to have this as an animated thumbnail. But what I used to do, I'm just going to share with you what I did. So let me just stop presenting a second. Can you all just see me now? Yeah. So what I used to do was I would look at Sally Ann and I would have a board like this. A little whiteboard. They cost about £2 off Amazon, right? It's like a whiteboard. And I used to write on their name. I used to write their name on. I used to go, something like that, right? So the name would be on the board, right? So I've done that dead roughly, but you might make it a bit neater than that. And then I'd literally just go like that and spin it, right? Like record the video, spin it, and then put it down and start talking. And so when the thumbnail then was presented inside of LinkedIn's inbox, let me just share screen again. Sounds a bit gimmicky, right? But I promise you, if you use an animated thumbnail here and they see their name spinning like that and you like smiling in the background, like being dead geeky like me, then it grabs their attention, number one, because there's that motion, but also it's personalized to them. So again, response rates are massive. A lot of people, I mean, it kind of depends on your target audience as well. Like, so if you're going for like high level CEOs and C-suite execs, might not work as well. But if you're going for kind of creators and those types of people, they'll appreciate the extra length that you went to get their attention. Okay. So it's up to you what you use. I don't do that anymore because I use Score App, right? I don't need that kind of gimmicky type stuff anymore because Score App is super powerful for me. All I need to be able to do is send a video with their profile. So on this video, I don't know whether you can see this. If I play that, you'll see exactly what I've sent to Can you hear this if I play it? I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it. Can you hear that? No. Okay. So okay.
You should have a way, Craig, though, to share audio.
Yeah, I just don't know how. It's
I don't-
basically let me flick through it. Like, you can see that I start talking about her profile. I start talking about the importance of LinkedIn profile optimization. And then I flick to another tab with her LinkedIn profile score. And then I give her feedback, like personalized feedback on how she scored. You can do this with a text message, but the extra length that you go to is far more powerful through video. 100% more powerful. Conversion is like so much better, guys, with video. Now I know that Sally Ann has actually replied to me, but I don't even know what she said yet. I'm just, be honest, I have a position previously where I needed to LinkedIn lead generation capacity. My folder. Right. So can you see how detailed her answer is? She's provided a really, really detailed answer. And that again is a signal that someone's like, they're buying into you just off of the back. So if somebody's got like a really short, abrupt answer, they haven't bought into you enough. But the fact that they're providing so much information shows me that that there's some level of buy-in to the fact that we've sent them a video. So guys, just from what I've shown you so far, who thinks it might be a good idea for them to be sending video or at least voice notes as responses and as outreach to their ICP? Definitely for Eli, definitely for Michael, because you've both got score up. Jonathan as well, for yourself, 100% yes. Yeah, definitely, because I know what you do. So like, and you're good on camera too, and I know because I've seen you do presentations. So anybody that like, put yourself out there, guys. You'll build rapport much faster through video. Next thing, guys, is as well, when you start to get positive responses from people, then it makes sense to use the star function. Who's familiar with the star function? Yeah. Okay. So for those of you that don't know the star function, take Gary here. I'm going to just flick on to Gary here for a second. We've had a conversation this morning, as you can see, and I've sent him a link to my score app. I've sent him a link to the community as well, because I know, because he indicated that might be useful to him, and so on. But what I would do now is I just click on the star icon here. And now I've starred him. It means that when I'm looking for people and leads that I've had conversations with that have been positive, I can go back to them through here. Oh, look, Eli's there. I could actually unstar you now, because that was to do with Score App, and you've signed up to Score App now. But it's a great way of like being able to see like a targeted list of people that you've had conversations with that you want to kind of follow up with. Another option is something called Folk. Has anybody heard of Folk?
I've heard of it.
Okay. Yeah. Folks, it's like a CRM, but it connects with LinkedIn here. So I could be having a conversation with Gary, right? And then what I can do is it's free, by the way. Like, there's a paid version, but Folk is free. What I'll do is I'll drop a link in the community to Folk so you can get access to it. But essentially, you go into Folk, or rather, you click on the Folk button here. In fact, I'm not going to do that on Gary. Let me just come back to the main folder. Focused. So let's go with Gary. And I'm going to add him to Folk. And then you can create different lists. So here, look, you can see I've got different lists here. So I could have him as a Score App customer, the branding community. At the moment, I think he's a branding community potential member. So I can then add him to branding community, and then it will save the entire conversation that I've had here, create interaction, and that's now saved inside Folk. So whenever I open up the Folk CRM, I don't have to type anything in or anything like that. He's already in there just by clicking on a button next to his name on LinkedIn. And then you can do lots more inside Folk. I won't get into that. Maybe that'll be another session at a later date. But Folk is pretty amazing for keeping track of all your prospects. If you're using some other type of CRM software, I know that you can also integrate it with that software. So worth looking into. And like I said, I'll drop a link into the community so you can get access to Folk. So once we've connected, guys, and we've built rapport through sending messages, I would just want to touch on making sure that you don't kind of dive into trying to book an appointment too soon, right? So make sure that you are building rapport in the conversation. So like take this guy again, Gary. I just want to show you kind of the conversation. Hey, Gary, thanks for reaching out with the connection request. Just out of curiosity, was something about my profile, blah, blah, blah. He replied, said, hi, Craig, thanks for asking. I'm not premium. I think we covered this before, so you know what he said there. I said, okay, great. Well, welcome to my little tribe. So how are you finding things here on good old LinkedIn? So what I'm doing there, guys, is I'm asking a conversation starting question that's relevant to my industry. So we don't pitch slap. We don't try and sell our services. All we do is ask a conversation starting question. I want you to imagine that every single person that you speak to is somebody that you've just met at a networking event for the very first time. What would you say to somebody at a networking event for the first time? More often than not, what you'll do is, I remember something called the pink suited man. If you bumped into a guy at a networking event that was dressed in a pink suit, you would probably walk up to him and say, hey man, great to meet you. Loving the suit, dude. So what I'm saying there is you take something that you see about that person that's obvious to you, and you use that to start a conversation. On LinkedIn, it's slightly different. What you'll do is you'll use something about their profile to start a conversation, or their content to start a conversation, or even better, you'll use something that they're really excited about to start a conversation. Because if you use something that they're really excited about, that's kind of like the be all and end all to them. And the way you find out what someone's excited about is you check their call to actions on their profile. So if I was to go to, let's go to Gary, check his profile. What's going on? LinkedIn's having a dicky fit. Okay. So I don't see a call to action. In fact, he hasn't even got a complete profile at the moment. So let's try find somebody else. In fact, let's look at Eli. Right. Hope you don't mind me using you as an example, Eli. But if I was to go and view Eli's profile, all I would be doing is looking at like what's his CTA saying? What's he saying at the end of his posts? What's he saying at the end of his about section? So here, it's got no CTA there. It's got visit my website here. Let me just close that. Drop this down. Let's go to the end of his about section. So you can see that Eli's goal is like winning clients that are wanting to elevate their presence on LinkedIn with content, with LinkedIn profile optimization and other things, right? So it would be to start a conversation around that. in some. How's it going? How's it going with your, how's it going with helping your clients maximize their returns on LinkedIn, for example? So you focus on the thing that's important to them to start that conversation. Any questions on this so far, guys? Is this making sense? Yeah. Other areas that you can look at, obviously, is their content. If you find a piece of content, let's go services down to activity, go to posts. You can just click into one of their posts and then just mention something that you found interesting about their post. Maybe add some additional insight into your message to add value. Notice, like, this is a poll, right? So you could mention the poll in your outreach message. But really important, guys, if you're going to send a DM message in relation to their content, you have to have interacted with their content first. You have to have liked it and you have to have commented. Once you've built rapport, guys, it's important then to move on to the ask. But before you ask, you've got to have seen some signals of interest. You've got to look out for signals of interest, or what are also known as cues. So if somebody is being like really, really friendly with you, giving you long responses, that's a good sign. That's a good sign that you can pivot to the ask, right? So if somebody's being short and abrupt with you, and you can tell that they're just entertaining you because they feel like they have to, you don't pivot into the ask, because you haven't earned you've got to earn the right to pivot to the ask. So just look for signals and cues, like the guy that I was chatting to before, who I keep going back to, Gary. His responses to me, but here we go, are lengthy. So there's a level of interest. So at this point now, you can see that I'm going through what we call a bit of discovery with him, right? So I'm saying, so what's the, okay, so hang on, let me just move up a bit more. I've sent him, I gave him a bit of value, free value, with my LinkedIn profile score quiz, because I noticed that his profile is in need of optimizing. He doesn't even have a banner. And then he answers my earlier question, which was, gotcha. So what's your main goal here then? Notice here that I give him a multiple choice. I give him multiple choice. Multiple choice, guys, is a great tool to have in your arsenal, because what you're doing with multiple choice is you're guiding the conversation in the direction you want it to go in. So, and the other thing about multiple choices is that you're making it super quick and easy for someone that's busy to reply and to respond to you. Because if they're super busy, imagine this is a C-suite executive. They might not have time to give a really detailed reply. So the fact that they can just type one letter on their keyboard and reply to you makes it super easy for them to respond. But notice that every single option that I give them is something that I can help them with. Each one of these options aligns with the service that I offer. So no matter how they answer this question, no matter how they answer the question, I can then go back to them with some form of value, some form of offer that they might be interested in. And this is the great thing. This is kind of like the discovery, right? We're trying to identify pain points. We're trying to identify some area where we can add value in some way, shape, or form. And then here as well, at the end of the multiple choice, I say, or like most people, a little bit of everything. So this is kind of a little bit psychological. Or like most people is leveraging social proof to a certain degree. We're kind of saying, like, most people that I talk to, this is what they say. And most people want to do what everyone else is doing, right? So sure enough, most people that answer this question say, yeah, a little bit of everything, actually. And I say, oh, well, I thought you might say that. And then I respond with some form of offer. So let's say, for example, if one of these options was lead generation, right? Imagine if B was lead generation, which kind of is the same thing here, right? Finding new clients. If they got back to me and they said option B, sorry, someone's trying to get into the meeting. Let me just let them in. If they opted for option B, lead generation, I could then respond to them and say, oh, I thought you might say that. The reason I ask is I've just launched a new LinkedIn lead generation feature, and it's proving to be a real game changer. We're currently offering a free trial of this system. Fancy a quick Zoom coffee sometime so I can show you how it works. And because they've already identified that that's the issue or the problem that they're trying to kind of, or their goal with LinkedIn, and you're incentivizing them to book an appointment because there's potentially a free trial that they can get access to, they're far more likely to book the appointment. So what we're kind of doing here is we're doing discovery. We're trying to identify pain points. Notice as I scroll further down the conversation, that I say, okay, so you've diverted your attention for that for now. So what's the grand plan then? I'm still digging. I'm trying to find out more information. Who will you target with what service? And the conversation continues. And then eventually I've asked him if he wants to schedule a call. And look, here you can see, fancy a quick Zoom coffee sometime. Because I've kind of earned the right to do that now, because the conversation has been going on long enough. We've built rapport. I've identified some areas that I can help him. And then hopefully he'll get back to me later today. If he doesn't get back to me, that's where it's really, really important to follow up. And that's why it's important to star and add to folk. Okay. So that you can follow up with them. Because if you've been chatting like this with somebody for an extended period of time and they suddenly go quiet, it will be for two reasons. It will either be that they got distracted, something came up. It could be that their phone rang or whatever. Or the other reason is they're just not interested. They don't want to book a call with you. You know, they enjoy chatting to you, but they don't want to book a call. But you've got to follow up to find out, because what if they got distracted? You know that LinkedIn's inbox is a nightmare, right, for keeping track of conversations, right? So it's our job to leverage the tools that are available, like the star icon and like folk, to keep track of the conversations and go back to them and ask them the question, did you see my last message? Yes or no? Right? Did you see my last message? Because I feel like I've earned the right through all of that conversation that we had for you to at least get back to that question. And if they don't answer again after another 24 hours, again, it's perfectly acceptable to follow up again. You've all heard that saying, the fortune is in the follow-up, right? You have to follow up, guys, because there's lots and lots of prospects in your inbox right now that you've probably started conversations with, or perhaps people even that you've connected with that you haven't started conversations with, that are willing to do business with you. But unless you're willing to kind of start those conversations and follow up with them, you're gonna let money slip through your fingers. So the next thing to do at this stage, if you're having to follow up one more time, is to use a pattern interrupt. And don't let that kind of bemuse you when I say pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is something that just grabs attention again and brings the conversation to the forefront. And for that, what I use is a GIF. So what I would do is I would type in something like, let me just think of something. So I might say something like, where are you? Like, we got a picture here of John Travolta kind of like looking around as if to say, like, what the hell, where are you? Right. So, so you could send that like so, right? and then say, did you get my last message? Oh. And typically what happens is when you use a pattern interrupt like that on your final attempt to try and get their attention, this is normally where they reply. Because you've added a little bit of humor to the conversation again. And also your message is going to stand out more in the inbox just because you've added the GIF and the motion. So just be mindful of using pattern interrupts and persisting, making sure that you follow up with these people until they get back to you. Of course, after 3 times of following up, you don't want to look like a crazy stalker, right? So just leave it at that. Another one that works really, really well is when you say, look, before I leave your inbox forever, and then you use the Bart Simpson one the Homer Simpson one of him disappearing into the hedge. That's another one that kind of, I'll just show you that one. So if I go GIF, I won't actually send it though. Homer, I cannot type today. That one. Yeah, and you just send that one to him before I disappear from your inbox forever, and then you send that, and that normally grabs the attention that you need. So guys, what I would implore you to do in your inbox, if you've ever go through your inbox, look at the people that you've started conversations with, people that perhaps that you started conversations with, and then it came to some sort of an end where they didn't reply, and start following up with those people straight away, because you can start those conversations again, reignite the conversation in some way, shape, or form. Maybe offer them something that you have that's a little bit unique or different, and just see where that conversation goes, because it could well be that 50% of the people that didn't get back to you were just distracted. But you didn't, not that you didn't bother following up. It's probably more of a case of you forgot to follow up, or you didn't have a system for following up. And as I said, if you use the star function, again, if you're just using the star function, then you've got to have a way of reminding yourself to follow up with all the stars, right? So you need to go to your calendar and you need to book in a slot in your calendar that literally says, do follow-ups in the DMs. And then all you're going to do is come to your starred people and go through and start reaching out to them all. Okay. That's pretty much it for now. That's how I dominate the DMs. That's how I do it. That it works for me like a treat. I also, obviously I have Score app, which works amazing for me as well. Because as soon as somebody takes my quiz, it's almost like I don't have to go through a discovery process, because the discovery's been done by the quiz, because it's asked them a load of questions already and identified their pain points. So I just have to then go and reach out to them with a message that says, hey, thanks for taking my quiz. Congratulations on your personal branding score of whatever. However, I couldn't help but notice you're unhappy with the number of leads that you're getting from LinkedIn, and then book an appointment off the back of that. So guys, questions. I'm going to invite questions now. So yes, Michael.
So yeah, so obviously you get a lot of people interacting with your posts, and for anybody taking Score app, taking the quiz, you know, those videos, making that feedback super interactive, taking the time out to actually do a video like you showed us,
yeah,
is brilliant. And you want to kind of use those tools to kind of leverage that. For somebody like myself who doesn't necessarily, you know, I'm basically contacting and connecting with people. Say, for example, you know, an owner or an operations director of a care home group.
Yeah.
Now, I'm needing to kind of send that initial connection request.
Yeah.
And then if they accept that, it's very cold at that point.
Yeah.
So I want to reach out to them, and I want to kind of thank them for connecting with me. And I want to kind of start that conversation. And obviously I don't want to come across like all of these other people who are doing commercial energy, where they're just getting straight to, you know, are you the person that deals with the energy? You know, when's your contract end date? Of course not. and I don't even want to sell to them at that point. So for really, really kind of cold, like very, very cold kind of new connections, a lot of these people as well, for me in my industry, it's not like kind of creators and people who are, you know, kind of graphic designers or people who are copywriters and stuff like that, where they're active on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll go to somebody's profile and they're not even using LinkedIn for that purpose. You know, they're not actively trying to get leads. They're not posting themselves. It's you know, the profiles are pretty bleak. And I've got to try and start that conversation very cold, you know, from a very cold point of view, and kind of without selling to them. And there's all of these tools you know, that you can drop a voice note, you can use Loom, you can do a video, there's all of these different options, but it's just for me trying to understand what the best framework is to actually start that kind of process and then kind of build on that process.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Michael. I think for you have clients, right? You already have clients, yeah. And those clients, I would imagine, get a good service. They're all happy with the savings that they make from the service that you provide, right? My starting point for you would probably be, this is if you're trying to leverage the DMs, it would be to go back to your existing clients and create case studies, like social proof, right? Case studies where you can have something visual that you could then record and send to a client. So you could so if you connect with somebody, I don't know, a CEO of some sort of company, like a care home or something like that, then if you're already dealing with care homes, it would be to leverage the case studies and the visual element of case studies in video format, sharing your screen and talking through the results that you've got and the savings that you've made for the CEO of such and such a care home.
Yeah.
I think if I was in your position, in your shoes, and that was my target audience, I'd be leveraging social proof visually through the DMs in video to stand out from the crowd. So there won't be a single one of your competitors that does that. Not a single one of them.
Yeah, probably not.
No. But what you're doing there is you're positioning yourself as different to start with. So a completely different approach to everybody else. You're sharing social proof. You're sharing that you're good at what you do. You're sharing that you get results for these companies. You're sharing that they're making savings, which all companies and CEOs want to do. You're doing it visually. You're leveraging 100% of the rule of communication, which they won't be doing. They'll be doing it by text.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'll stand out massively compared to them in a good way. And yeah, I think everybody here has to think about their ICP, put yourself in your ICP shoes and think like, how would you respond if somebody sent you a video with a case study really showing like the results and you got down to the nitty gritty straight away? You started your video with a hook that really grabbed attention. I don't know. It could be something like, we just saved, yeah, no worries, guys. In fact, Eli's just sent something to you, Michael. Send.
Right.
Dave's just left. But yeah, like, remember what I said right at the beginning, like when everyone else is zigging, then we need to zag. We need to do something to stand out. So that's what comes to mind when I think about your target audience and how you could stand out. You've got clients, you provide a good service, you save them money. Why would any other CEO not want to do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for example, I could use Vidyard, and I've got a huge client. You know, they run entire retirement villages. I could bring up their website.
Yeah.
And then I could appear in the bottom corner, and I could be saying, look, this is one of my clients. This is what we've done. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
However, I guess it's just trying to get my head around the idea of that is pretty much kind of selling, kind of, you know, from the off, isn't it? It's like, here's a video case study. This is how I help somebody. Love to speak to you about that. There's not really any interaction, kind of like, hey, how's it going? You know, thanks for connecting. You know, do you like cats or dogs or some?
Yeah.
It's like, how is there any other steps? But because I can do that easily, I've done that in the past. But are there any other steps so that I'm not kind of almost selling energy or a service from the off, if that makes sense?
It's again, it goes back to asking a conversation starting question to start with. So it goes back to, like, you do networking, Michael. When you first jump into a call with somebody, it's just start a conversation, like just talk, like, about anything, just try to grab their attention in some way, shape or form. I think you can do that with, if I was you, I wouldn't send a text message. I'd send a voice note, a short voice note, and I'd mention something about their profile or something that grabbed your attention about their profile, or something like, look on their website. Have they posted a blog recently? And then read the blog and mention something that grabbed your attention about it, because that's something personal to them, and that will start the conversation. Right. And then all you've got to do then is to be able to lead that conversation in the direction you want it to go in. And eventually you'll get to the point where you'll listen out for the cues and the signals. And if you've got some level of interest, you can then start to move on to kind of the case study bit. So by all means, try and you can pitch slap as many people as you want, for all I care. But I promise you that's the spray and pray approach. You'll get some wins, but you'll damage a lot of potential relationships that would otherwise have been quite fruitful if you apply that, if you go down that route. So I think you've just, go to ChatGPT, like type in, speak to ChatGPT, train ChatGPT on who your ICP is, and then ask them, like, what would be some good conversation starting questions to ask. That could yield some good results for you that you could leverage to at least get the conversation started. But it boils down to just being a human and just chatting to people the same way that you would do at a networking event. A quick sorry, I'm just going to move on. A quick question that I've forgotten your name. Kaimru Staging. Can you just pipe up and say your name, because we've had a one-to-one and I can't remember your name.
Oh, sorry, it's Rian.
That's it, Rian. Sorry. So yeah, Rian, so your question is, what if you're starting off and you haven't got a client base? So when I first started out on LinkedIn, back in the day, I used to offer a free LinkedIn profile review, right? So I had, just like you, didn't have any clients, and I started reaching out to people in the DMs and offering value, saying, look, my business is brand new. This is the great thing, right, about LinkedIn that I absolutely love. People love vulnerability. People love to help other people that have just started a business, right? It's so if you reach out to people and you say, hey, listen, I'm looking for a little bit of help. I've actually just started a new business. Like lay it out there, like let them know that you're a new fish in the water, and you're looking to offer a little bit of value in order to be able to build up your trust and credibility on the platform. You're looking to build up a little bit of social proof too. So if there's something, just remind me of your product and your service.
Yeah, so it's home staging, it is.
Yeah.
So helping property developers, investors, estate agents, etc., to sell the properties quicker and more profit through home staging. Yeah.
So it could be something as simple as like inviting them to a not like a podcast, but like an interview or something like that that's recorded. Or it could be, I'm trying to think of something that you could offer for free, right? To enable you to showcase what you do to them. They get it for free, but you can then, off the back of that, they then give you a review or a recommendation or something. And then you can leverage that social proof in your content, because that's what I did. I was giving free profile reviews. I built up about 20 recommendations. 10, 20 recommendations. And then I started to charge for my service, and the trust and the credibility was there. And I started to get word of mouth and stuff as well.
Okay.
So I think when you're first starting out, when you haven't got a client base, you've got to have something that you could potentially offer for free or for very low cost.
Okay.
So give that some thought. I think you need to come up with some sort of a free offer, but without it being too much skin off your nose, right? So I'm not saying give away something for free if it's going to take you hours and hours and hours, right? It needs to be something that you can just do on a temporary basis, that builds the trust and the credibility. Has anybody else asked a question? Somebody else put their hand up. Just give me a moment, Enas. I'm just seeing if there's any more. Okay, right, Enas, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, sure. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you? How are you, everybody? Hope everybody is fine. Greg, my question is, as you know, Arabic region, very conservative people.
Yeah.
In men and women alike. Okay, and they like to be more observant than action takers. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
lurkers.
No, not lurkers. No. They are very conservative and they are in own comfort zone.
Okay.
So they don't want to go out of their comfort zone because they said we are not having time. We don't like this. A lot of things, a lot of no in their heads, but at the same time they want. See the contradiction how? For that, you find a lot of profiles for CEOs, for founders, for people with huge potential, but it's like silent profiles.
Yeah.
How to approach these people to convince them or to open their eyes that you can do something better with your personal brand than to turn from corporate leader into thought leader or something like that.
That's where your content needs to speak to that ideal target audience, and you need to position like your offer. So you need to be calling them out in your content. You need to be making them aware through your content, like and educating them through your content. And then when they engage with your content as a result of being called out, that you then follow up with those people through the likes and the comments in the DMs. So I think
no other way, because maybe they are very silent.
Yeah,
they are silent.
So the only other way that you could do it would be with a paid. You could use the standard search filters within standard LinkedIn, or you could pay for Sales Navigator. And with Sales Navigator, you could then identify the people that were active on LinkedIn with one of the filters there on Sales Navigator, and target those people with outreach messages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. There's a lot of audiences out there that there's people that have a presence on LinkedIn, but they're not active. But that doesn't mean to say that sorry for using the word lurker again, but there's a lot, right? So I think there's 1%, right, of everyone that's on LinkedIn. 1% are creators. So everybody here right now in this room are creators, right? You put content out on LinkedIn. Then you've got 9% that are engagers. They're the people that they don't put out content, but they will like the odd post here and there. They'll comment on the odd post here and there. The other 90% just sit in the sidelines and don't do anything. They just absorb the content, and but they don't engage with it. And they're the people. I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day, saying that it's the 90% that buy from you. It's very, very rare that somebody that engages with your content reaches out to you and said, right, I've been following your content now for quite some time. Let's do business. It just rarely happens. It's always the people in the 90%. It's always the lurkers.
Mm-hmm.
So you putting out content is how you reach those lurkers. And more often than not, when you do get somebody that reaches out to you with a message in your inbox, they'll often say, oh man, I've been following Enas. I've been following you for such a long time. And I really love like all your content, and I'd love for you to help me with XYZ. And you'll think to yourself, well, that's great, but why have you never engaged with my content? Why have I never heard of you before? And it's just because they're a lurker. They don't create content and they don't engage in the, they're just waiting. They're waiting for the right time to reach out to you when the time's right for them to engage your services. So the only other way that you can, the only other thing that you can do is then reaching it, like I said, reaching out through the DMs by doing searches for your ICP in the hope that they've seen your content already. Because if they have seen your content already, it's almost like they know you already. They're familiar with you. They're familiar with your brand. They're familiar with your name, your brand identity. And so when you do reach out, it's not a shock. But if you're reaching out to people that have engaged with your content, they're far more likely to respond to you, far more likely, especially if you're thanking them for engaging with your content. So have you used Sales Navigator before, Anas, or not?
No, I went for a premium, but I didn't renew. But I'm considering to have Sales Navigator because it's more, I think, more feasible or more profitable in the connections wise, I think.
Yeah. Well, you can send more connection requests and you can send more messages as well with premium. I've always used Sales Navigator. I just find it a lot of people, they sign up to Sales Navigator. They don't quite understand how it works. They use it for about a month and then they stop using it, but they keep paying for it for some strange reason, just so they get the, for the ability to be able to send more messages and more connection requests, even though they're not really utilizing it in the right way. But that's the way LinkedIn's going now anyway. Like with the restrictions that LinkedIn's making now on reach, like you'll probably find in the not too distant future, nearly everybody will be signing up to some sort of premium version of LinkedIn, because that's what LinkedIn wants to do. It wants to make money through advertising and through the tools that it sells. It's all about ad revenue. That's why reach is dropping on the platform. It's with a view to getting you to sign up for tools and for you to start spending money on ads. It wouldn't surprise me if, in fact, I'm not even sure if I think it was in beta, but I think there was a version of like sponsored posts, which I've seen some of, but like Facebook's where you could just sponsor a post. I believe, if you wanted to get extra reach in the future, you would need to sponsor a post in order to do that.
Craig, are you referring to thought leadership ads or boosting? Boosting doesn't work so much, but there's thought leadership ads now, which is the ability for company pages to promote personal profile posts that came out.
I've seen the thought leadership ones, but I was thinking more of the boosting of posts, which is a great way for them to make additional money, because a lot of people don't want to kind of get involved in the kind of the technicalities of creating ads. But like, for example, like I just posted today, the post that talks about how you can do like 50 comments in 20 minutes. It's just a very, very simple strategy, but that's the type of post that would be good to boost it. If you had some sort of CTA at the bottom of it, and also a great way as well following, again, if you're not having much luck with your content, then you've got to look inwards. You've got to go, right, do I have a content strategy? Does it align with the needs, the wants, the desires, the pain points of my ICP? Because guaranteed, if you start putting out content that resonates, then you'll get tons more engagement. If your content's vanilla, then you're not gonna get the kind of engagement that you're looking for or the reach that you're looking for. But truth be known, everyone's struggling with reach at the moment. Even all the top influencers whinging and moaning about it as well. But one thing I know for fact is, I've been on LinkedIn a long time, and I've seen the trends come and go. I've seen reach go up, go down, and I think the less if you can remove yourself from worrying about the algorithm and just focus on your target audience and putting yourself in their shoes and thinking, what do they want from me? What can I give them? that will give them value and position me as a thought leader, as an authority, as somebody that's trustworthy, credible. Because we buy from people that, again, I know it's cliche, but we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. And that's how you do it, through content that builds that trust and credibility. Any other questions, guys?
Craig, you said in the beginning that you wanted to show us how you use the scorecard and then reaching out people who have done it and then reaching out to them.
Yeah, so I was going to, I thought I kind of covered it a little bit, but let me just find, we go back to focus. I'll share my screen again. Bear with me 1 minute. I'm trying to find someone now that I did this with.
And when you reach, Craig, when you reach out to people who haven't done the scorecard and you offer it to them and you prompt them to do it, do you see that there's a high conversion and they do end up going in and doing the scorecard?
Yeah, there is. There really is. And I think again, that depends on the quality of the conversation that you've had with them. So, like, I said this to Imran the other day. I said, what I do is, like, my scorecard is my top of funnel. It's really the only lead magnet that I have, right? So I promote it everywhere, like at every opportunity. Like, if I go networking, I promote it when I go networking. I drop it in the chat, a link to in the chat. I've a little while ago, I started promoting the community more recently, so I took it off. But my background here used to be a colored background with a QR code, and the QR code went straight to the quiz. And I'd say to people, just scan this code on your phone now to find out your LinkedIn profile score. I would also include it on my email signature. I would include it. I'd make sure it was integrated with my website. I'd make sure that it was at every conversation that I have with somebody, I'm always seeking for an opportunity to drop in the links in some way, even if that's with a PS, even if it's with a, quick, almost like as an afterthought, quick one before you go. You might find this useful. Give this a whirl. You'll find out your LinkedIn profile score. For Michael, it'd be like, quick one before you go. If you want to find out if you could save money on your bills, here's a link to my quiz, or find out your score today to see whether you can make any savings. So just try to think of it as like, if that is your lead magnet, that is your source of lead capture. That's how you're going to capture your leads. More importantly, that's how you're going to capture pre-qualified leads. So drive at every opportunity, you're driving people to that. Trying to think like what I could show you. Hang on, let me just go to share here. This one's a good example. This is kind of a good example because this one isn't using video. However, when I was talking about being persistent before, so really great to connect, Elliot. So how's good old LinkedIn treating you? I didn't know when I sent in this connection request that he'd just taken my quiz, right? So then I noticed, actually, I send him another message. I say, the reason I asked is, so he didn't reply, right? So I said, the reason I asked is most coaches and consultants I speak to have a resume style profile, LinkedIn profile, instead of a high converting landing page as a profile. After all, resumes are great for getting you jobs, but they suck at getting you clients, right? So now you can get your LinkedIn profile score for free. And discover exactly where your profile is letting you down. So then he responded and said, sure, that resonates with me. I thought it might, Elliot. Here's the link for you. So I sent him the link. He then completed the quiz, right? So I got his score. And he said, I'll try it out when I get back to my desk, likely tomorrow. So I put a thumbs up. Then he took the quiz. And I literally just said, hey, Elliot, thanks for taking the time to get your LinkedIn profile score. Firstly, congrats on your personal branding score of 71%. That's not bad at all, and shows you understand the importance of positioning yourself effectively on LinkedIn. However, I couldn't help but notice that you're unhappy with the number of leads you're getting on LinkedIn as your current process is ineffective. If I could show you a guaranteed way to generate leads from your LinkedIn profile, would you be adverse to finding out more? And here you can see he didn't reply. So I've sent it like today, just today, I've sent him a follow-up. Did you get my message? Yeah, because he's replied to me before. Why would he not like get back to this message? So again, he's already added to Folk, so I will follow. I don't use the star so much now. I use Folk, so I'll just follow up with him inside Folk. So that's all I do, Eli. Is like this. You don't need to go through a discovery process with somebody when you've got a quiz. You're just following up with them based on how they answer the questions in the quiz. And again, if he doesn't answer this, then the next message will be a GIF before I disappear from your inbox forever. And I'll be honest, at that point, like if they don't reply to me at that point, I'd remove them as a connection as well, because I don't want a feed cluttered with people that actually they're not gonna, they're not even engaging with me. So I'll remove them from as a connection.
Because at that point as well, Craig, I mean, not only have you got some really good data on the prospect, but they've also got, some tons of value. So, it should be great for them as well at that point. So if it's not then going anywhere, I guess you've really have qualified them with as much stuff.
100%, Michael. You have to remember that this is an exchange. Like the score, right? So the Score app and having a quiz as a landing page, as a lead magnet, is a great pre-qualifier for your ideal prospects, right? But what you're doing is you're leveraging curiosity and intrigue to get them to take your quiz. They drop into your top of funnel as soon as they complete the lead form, right? They then answer the questions of the quiz. And once they've answered the questions, they then get what they came for, right? They get their result. They might get, if you've set it up properly, then they might get some detailed insights on things that they can do to improve, all of which positions you as an authority and as an expert, right, in their minds, because not only did you deliver on the promise that you made right at the beginning before they took the quiz, but you've also delivered these additional insights to help them improve, right? So they can take that on board. They go away happy, but when they're filling in the quiz as well, what I mentioned this to somebody the other day, and they said that when they were doing the quiz, they don't even think that you're collecting data. They're just thinking like, I want to know my LinkedIn profile score. I want to know what my score is. I want to get some actionable insights on things I can do to improve. So it works particularly well as well for, like people within sensitive industries where you can't question people face to face, like coaches and consultants that have to ask sometimes sensitive questions that some people wouldn't be willing to answer face to face with somebody, but they'll do it in the privacy of completing a quiz online because it feels more private. So again, it's a really handy tool for that. But yeah, like the amount of leads that you get through your quiz will be determined by how proactive you are in promoting it, how much effort you put into promoting it. If you literally just have it in the back of your mind all the time, that's what you're promoting, and you're looking for the angle to be able to drop the link in, or to be able to or to be able to even mention it. Sometimes what works quite well for me is, listen, I've just recently launched a way to get your LinkedIn profile score. Do you mind if I send you the link? I ask for permission first before I send it. That's another thing you can do. Because more often than not, again, that triggers curiosity and intrigue. As soon as I mention it, they're like, I wonder what my LinkedIn profile score is. So any other questions, guys, at all before we wrap up? Nope. Okie dokie. Right. So guys, thanks very much for joining us today. If you could all do me a favor, those of you that are left, if you know of anybody that would get value from being a member of the community, please feel free to invite them. There is an invite link, which I will show. Do you all know where the invite link is in the community? I'll just show you.
Right-hand side on school on the homepage.
Yeah, there's actually, well, there's a couple of places. There's the right-hand side. You've also got, if you go into the members here, you've got an invite here. So you can go into the members, click on invite, and you've got the link right there. So you can just copy it and send that to anybody. Anybody that, if you send that link to anybody and they join as a paid member, I give you access to the LinkedIn profile optimization masterclass worth 250 quid for free. All right. So just be aware of that. It's currently locked, I think, inside the community, but just let me know when they've joined. I'll double check it and then I'll give you access to that course if you need it. One other thing. No, I think that's it. That's it for today. So the next session will be in 2 weeks. That one will be with Imran. Not sure what he's covering yet, guys. But as always, if anything crops up, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout anytime. And I'm more than happy to jump on a call as well. If you want to jump on a call anytime to discuss anything, happy to do that. Okay, guys, over and out from me. Have a great week ahead, and we'll catch up soon. See you later.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Craig. Cheers.
Bye now. Bye-bye.